All right. There you go. Awesome. Thank you so much, Cross Chain Coalition. And thank you, Andriy. Welcome to Future Proof by the Cross Chain Coalition. Are you here, Andriy? Holler at me.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Happy to hear you.
How did you like that music? Did it get you pumped up? Did it get you totally pumped?
Yeah, it inspires to have a
That's
fruitful
right.
conversation.
That's right. And does it inspire you not to sell your remaining FTT holdings?
I have to say that I didn't have any of the FTTs,
Oh,
but from
you're one of the smart people.
what about you? Do you hold
Oh,
them?
no. I do not. I hold some BNB though. Let me tell you that BNB.
I hold
Ever
some
since
BNB too.
exactly. Okay, CZ, we said we hold BNB, so don't target us. Okay, don't sell our token, please. Um, Welcome, Andriy, and we have. I want to say welcome to the entire Crush and Coalition community, folks who are joining us live, or folks who are joining us via recording or via this blog. We are the Cross Chain Coalition, and this is our weekly Tuesday AMA called Future Proof, where we talk to some of the leading and most innovative and amazing cross chain and projects that you may not have heard of or you may have heard in passing. And what we want to do is to become the resource for all cross chain technology and all cross chain innovators. So today is Tuesday, November 8th. And with that, we welcome a really a great guest, a great team, uh, Andriy. And Andriy, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Velykyy?
Velykyy,
Velykyy?
it translates like the great. If
There
you
you go.
look at the into the history, like Katerina Velyka, the
Yeah.
emperor, it like sort of goes back from there.
Oh, so you're royal blood.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have royalty with us, and royalty for another reason. When we start talking, we were very impressed with Allbridge. Again, one of these cross-chain, organizations which you don't hear about, but when you see the proof of their on-chain volume, it just is like wow. We were just like, how we have to have you with us. So today we're going to talk, and I'll just set the agenda, and Andrew, tell me if it's all good. We're just going to talk about, the really what is Allbridge. We're going to talk about Allbridge Classic, Allbridge Bass. Then we're going to talk about mint and burn bridges, the evolution, and we're going to talk about Allbridge Swim. This might be very cool. And then, security. What's on everybody's minds? Hacks and consequences. Sounds like a good agenda, Andrew.
Sure, sure.
Rock and roll. All
I
right.
mean, this swim news has, striked me because I just learned about it today. The guys are closing their protocol, which is pretty much similar to ours. So it is
Wow.
definitely something that we should tap into. But of
Who
course,
who
we
is
can
closing
start
their protocol? Sorry, I need to jump in. Who is closing their protocol?
swim. Swim guys,
Swim.
they just
Ah,
swim protocol, which are doing similar thing to what we are doing, just
yeah,
announced that
yeah,
they're closing down. So we should definitely, I think, tap into that.
yeah,
Maybe share some opinion what may have happened.
yep, yep, yeah.
Other than
Please, that
that, we can absolutely start with the intro just to provide the context, or go
absolutely.
straight into the news.
Well, so the news is hot, but most folks will not know of Allbridge. So why don't we do this? Let's do just 5 minutes, maybe six. Talk about Allbridge. How did you guys start? What is Allbridge Classic? What is Allbridge Bass? Where did Allbridge come from?
So initially, Allbridge wasn't actually called Allbridge. When we deployed on mainnet last year, it was called Solbridge because we really wanted to target Solana audience and we wanted to be part of Solana ecosystem. So we deployed with four chains: Solana, Binance Smart Chain, Ether, and Huobi Chain, which apparently no one uses anymore for some reason. And after time, as we were more looking into cross-chain space, we figured out the need for the bridges that are bridging EVM chains to non-EVM chains. As the
Yeah.
majority of the bridges today, they provide you an interface, let's say, between Polygon, Avalanche, Ether, other
Mhm.
EVM chains.
Hmm.
But integrating native near or integrating XRP Ledger, Stellar,
Yeah.
Tezos, it
Yeah.
is harder from the perspective of the development.
Hmm.
So this is how we decided to become Allbridge rather than Soulbridge, and this is the
Hmm.
market strategy that we've been pursuing. And
Hmm.
we were the first bridge, for example, to integrate Solana to Polygon
Right.
last year in September,
Hmm.
and the market,
Congrats.
thanks, the market has reacted. So
Hmm.
far, we have 17 chains. I think by the end of the year, we will have additional two or three more.
Hmm.
And this is part of the product that we call Allbridge Classic, like the initial
Right.
version of the bridge that we've
Right.
been using.
Yes.
Over time, we became interested in how do we transfer the actual liquidity between the chains rather
Hmm.
than minted wrapped assets. So
Hmm.
this corresponds to your question about mint and burn bridges, and
Hmm.
we came up with this concept of what we call core of cross-chain
Hmm.
swaps. And that
Hmm.
is actually is connected to this topic about Swim that we just mentioned. That Swim protocol, they have been doing cross-chain stable swaps, the native ones to and from Solana, and they just announced that they're closing down.
And why is that happening for Swim? Why are they closing down cross-chain swaps from, and it's from Ethereum to Solana, right? Ethereum mainnet to Solana?
They also have Binance Smart Chain and a couple of other chains, but they are Solana-based project, and
Right.
they have been quite popular in Solana ecosystem as they
Hmm.
were backed by all the major funds like
Hmm.
Alameda, FTX, Jump. They all
Yeah.
backed Swim. So when
Hmm.
I today opened Twitter and saw that they're closing down, it came out as absolute surprise.
Got it. And is it, do you think it's because of the difficulty of the tech, or do you think it is because we're in a bear market, so there's just less demand to go between Solana and Ethereum?
Well, it is hard for me to understand what is really happening there, but it is also hard to ignore the fact that we have just seen this fight between FTX, Alameda
Yeah.
with, with CZ and Binance, and for
Yeah.
the reason that FTX and Alameda are sitting on their cap table, it would
Hmm.
probably be interesting to ask their team what is happening there. It is somehow related or not. I
Yep.
don't know, but it is an interesting question. The timing, it's like happening at the same time. But maybe there are other reasons. Maybe the team decided to pursue for other market opportunities. Maybe they are finalizing the project, ending it because they got tired of the fact that the bridges get constantly hacked, and it is risky. It is hard to sleep at night, understanding that each and every week someone gets hacked, and you may be the next one on the list. Maybe that happened to them, maybe something else, I don't know. But it's
Right.
interesting to see and watch. I just mentioned that if anyone is still interested in using decentralized tech to bridge stables to and from Solana, we would be happy to provide this functionality. It is
Hmm.
now available, so all existing users from Swing protocol can and should use Allbridge. I think, hey guys, we're here. Please come. We will be happy to assist.
Hmm. Got it. And I think, if you were to say where you're seeing things going, where are things going? Where are the winds blowing now that we are in a bear market?
I think that the old mint and burn concept of the bridges would slowly fade away. I
Hmm.
don't see that people in this bear market, when the yields are so low, would
Hmm.
bother figuring out what to do with wrapped assets. I mean,
Yes.
it
Oh,
has
whoa, whoa,
been.
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a
Yeah.
second. Are you saying that wrapped assets is like on a downtrend? Whoa, whoa, this is huge. Are you saying that wrapped assets are going to be a main victim of the bear market?
Let me explain this thought. My vision is that if you get like 100% yield per year, then
Mm-hmm.
100% gives you enough incentivization to go and figure out what to do with wrapped assets. Now, if let's say you need to go through the whole journey, sending the transaction, receiving the transaction, getting wrapped asset, changing it to native, and
Yeah.
all you end up with is 5 to 10% yield, then
Yeah.
for the majority of people, it's
Ah,
just not worth the fuss, right?
wow. So this is yield driven. You're saying that if yields are low, wrapped assets will suffer because the yield is not enough to cover the pain of dealing with a wrapped asset that needs to be converted to a native asset on the target chain. Did I get you right?
Yes, and other than that, the whole concept of wrapped assets means that there are different versions of wrapped assets.
Correct.
So
Oh my
the
God. Yeah.
liquidity is being
Yeah.
splitted
Correct.
of all those versions, and it
Yeah.
is painful for customers, and this
Hmm.
pain grows in the bear market. So
Right.
yeah, I think that we need really to focus on native experience in this market
Okay.
because it is easier to understand for the users,
Okay.
it is
Hmm.
easier to use, and
Yep.
it is, just better for the whole
Yeah.
user experience is better.
Yeah. Yeah. But what if the native asset does not exist on the target chain, but exists on the source chain? How
Then
does the
the
user?
yeah, then we will still need to have it, right? There is no other way than that. But
Hold
for
on, hold
us,
on, hold on. So you're saying that if the native asset does not exist on the target chain, we must wrap. There is no choice. We must wrap.
there is no choice, absolutely. But
Okay.
I'm saying that switching to other assets like in our case stable coins, the native
Yeah.
stable coins,
Yeah.
makes perfect sense because it
Yeah.
is easier from the user perspective, and
Yeah.
if users want to later on trade those stable coins into
Yep.
the other assets on the destination chain, then the
Yep.
whole experience is better.
Got it. So how does Allbridge play in this space then? Like, given that wrapped assets sort of add friction and stress to the user, especially when yields are low, how does Allbridge grow? Like, what is your strategy for growth and success in such a market?
We deployed a new version of the bridge, which we call Core, which
Hmm.
is oriented towards the native experience.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. And so your focus, your new bridge that you've launched, Core, is really focusing on native to native stable swaps. Now, tell us about native to native stable swaps. This sounds like a little bit like Stargate on layer zero. Is it the same, essentially?
We are viewing, Stargate as our main competitor on one
Okay.
side for the
Okay.
reason that they're solving the same business need. I think
Yep.
we are addressing this problem slightly different in terms of the technological infrastructure, the
Yep.
chains we support, and the fact that Stargate will always operate on layer zero, same as
Yep.
Portal by Wormhole will always operate over
On
Wormhole because
wormhole. That's right.
and we are viewing our strategy as messaging protocol agnostic.
Got
So,
it.
in case
Got it.
if we help you to get the stable asset USDT from Tron, we will provide you our messaging. If you want to use Solana and you prefer Wormhole over our messaging, you can use Wormhole. Later down the road, we can very much integrate Layer Zero or XLR
Mhm.
so that our users can choose.
Got it. That's awesome. That's very beautiful. So you are again. So you're although layer zero is seen as a primary competitor in the Stargate route, you can let your users give that. You can essentially integrate with any cross-chain messaging system to let your users find the best route or find the particular approach that suits them best to get these native to native stable swaps completed. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
are aiming at two things. The
Hmm.
first one is that we want to provide our users the freedom of choice. So that
Hmm.
addresses the decentralization concept in general. You're
Yeah.
choosing the messaging layer you're comfortable with, and we
Hmm.
don't want to push you in any in particular. The second reason for us to do that is that ultimately we want to cover as many chains as possible. So we don't
Right.
want to be limited to any single messaging protocol. So by integrating multiple messaging protocols, we see that as our competitive advantage and a possibility to cover as many chains as possible in future.
Got it. Got it. So here, question for you. We were talking with a project about deploying their contracts across different chains, and they were saying to us that the volumes on the other chains are still pale in comparison to ETH mainnet. They get the most volume on ETH mainnet. Are you seeing the same trends in volumes that ETH mainnet still persists with the highest volume of transactions, and that the other chains are L1s, L2s, rollups, ZK, ZK syncs, ZK rollups, however you flavor them, they are not really capturing more transaction volume away from Ethereum. If
Uh,
anything,
I'm
the transaction volume not changing.
I'm sorry to interrupt you for your
Yeah,
question, but
yeah,
just 1 minute ago, I just
yeah.
received the message. CZ tweeted that FTX is being acquired by my Binance. It's happening
No
like
way.
right now.
No way. Are you kidding me?
No,
No way.
and I'm
No,
sorry, I missed part of
no.
your question
Whoa,
because I
whoa,
had
whoa,
to
whoa,
click on
whoa,
the link
whoa,
and go
whoa.
to CZ page
Oh my
on
God.
Twitter just to
What?
make sure it's not a
What?
fake.
Yeah, no, no, no. I thought they were doing something. This is madness. This is madness. Um, are you kidding me?
No, actually, I don't. As I
Wow.
said, I missed
We
part of
signed
your
a,
question
a
because
non-binding letter of intent to fully acquire FTX. Wow. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my
it's
God.
history happening now.
This is amazing. Wow. Wow. This is madness. This is madness. Oh my
Actually, I
God.
think it is quite an interesting thing for the DeFi, for decentralized finance in general. So, as we will see that two major players will essentially be merged, so there is less competition on the market. That ultimately
Right.
means that we will see more centralization, and
Correct.
maybe not all of the users would like that.
Oh
So
my God.
maybe there will be seen more interest towards alternative methods of transferring the value rather than
Yeah.
centralized exchanges. So
Yeah. Yeah.
over time, that can bring more interest to the bridges as well, as
Yeah.
bridges are today the alternative of depositing on one chain to the centralized exchange and withdrawing on the other. Now that we see that Binance is pretty much occupying the whole space, maybe there
Yeah.
is a window of opportunity here.
Wow. Um, that is okay. Okay. So what happens to Alameda then?
I don't know, but just that news alone makes the whole talk about Swim protocol ending its operations today even more interesting as it is part of the Alameda family, right?
Right, right, right. I agree. I agree. This is amazing. Okay, so we
Let's
are
go
seeing
back to your question.
we're
Yes.
seeing history being made here that Sam, who was before boasting that he was going to give $1 billion to help the elections, um, you know, uh, uh, is that um, oh my goodness, it's wild. This is uh, this is just crazy.
I'm genuinely surprised by this news. I didn't
I
see
am
that
I
coming.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming either. Um, because it means that FTX was really in a liquidity hole, and they could not. The bank run was effective as soon as Binance dumped. FTX was done. Wow.
Yeah. Well, seems that the market is reacting to this news quite positively,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
got faith in that things will settle down for the retail community at least over time. So we will not see the crash similar to what happened to Terra Luna that affected the whole DeFi ecosystem.
Right.
I
Right.
still I'm a big fan of decentralization and getting two largest exchanges in the world merging into one. I don't see that as a good news, but well, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and particularly now it's going to Binance, what is the regulatory question, right? You know, um, you know, it's it's wow. This afternoon, FTX asked for our help. My goodness. Yeah, wow. Just amazing.
So yeah,
Well, I
coming
think
back
I
to
think
bridges.
coming back to our AMA. I'm sorry. We apologize to everybody listening, but it's kind of like it's like where were you when Binance bought FTX? It was Tuesday, November 8th. Where were you? Do you remember? I think we all were on the show remembering. Wow, look at that. So much can be said about it. Let's get back to talking about bridges. Okay.
I like your changing of the title for this conversation.
All right. So, what can we do to safeguard users? Bridges have a high surface area of risk, whether it's in-flight transactions or at-rest transactions, whether it's multi-sig, compromise, or whether or not it's upgradable contracts compromised. What is your view on how we can secure bridges so that users don't lose their funds?
Now, the problem here is that we need to accept the fact that we cannot make it 100% resistant to the hacks. We can do as much as we can, working hard on cybersecurity, doing cybersecurity audits, doing a lot of tests, and maybe participating in bug bounties. But
Mm-hmm.
in the end of the day, if someone would tell me that he's 100% sure that his breach is not going to get hacked, I would probably call this person a liar. Because you never know what is going to be the new vector of attack. I will give you an example. So, for example, so far since our launch on mainnet in July last year, we have been good. So our statistics is generally better than 90% breaches on the market. We
Mm-hmm.
still had one security incident
Mm-hmm.
that did not relate in any way to what we were doing regarding
Yeah.
cybersecurity. So we
Yeah.
were hosted on Nameschip, and
Mm-hmm.
employee of Nameschip
Yeah.
logged
Yeah.
into system, bypassed
Wow.
the
Wow.
2FA that we set it
Wow.
up, and changed the
Wow.
IP addresses. So
Right. Right.
how you can possibly be prepared for such vector of attack? You don't.
Yeah. 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 You just run your own domain registrar.
It seems to be a little bit extreme. It is
Yeah,
just
I
like
know.
when
That's
you
right.
when you need to exchange your crypto, you run your own exchange.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now we're telling people to run their own domain registrars for security. I agree. And we see it happen with T-Mobile, right? With mobile phones and hijacking. Do you run your own mobile phone service just so you have the security you're looking for? So you got it. Okay. So we are now wrapping up, 2 minutes left. What are we going to see? It's the last quarter of 2022. Besides us seeing Allbridge by Binance, um, what is next for Allbridge in 2023? Where to next?
Well, I'm personally right now really interested in going towards privacy layer because I
Okay.
see that a lot of information about cross-chain transfers it is being exposed, and
Yeah.
for users it is not that good.
Hmm.
So I'm really digging into ZK right now, and
Hmm.
while this autumn we will be finalizing everything related to the existing development, maybe we're
Hmm.
adding some chains both to core and to classic version of the bridge.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
winter, I really want to dig into privacy and
Mm.
see how we can help users to make sure that they are protected.
Yeah.
So some cool announcements probably gonna be closer to December, January. There are a lot
Okay.
of things to do right now, but this
Yep.
is the next thing. I think that it is important, and I
Yep.
haven't yet heard of any bridge enabling those kind of functionality. So
Functionality. Yep. 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 No, that's exciting. And adding more protections and using new technology like ZK proofs, I think is very promising, and that's where most of the industry is very excited to look towards. So glad to hear that Allbridge will be participating and launching and announcing some new things come January. So we will be looking. And also, when you launch, maybe come back to Crushing Coalition Future Proof to tell us more.
Sure, always happy to. And thank you so much for inviting.
Thank you so much, Andriy. A pleasure. All the best. Good luck.
All the best. Good luck. Thank you.
Cue the music.